Welcome back. Today we want to go over three things with you. First, we want to go over the tune on our 77 Dodge van 318 2-barrel, hoping for a little power and gas mileage. And then we want to cover part of the results, and I'll tell you what I mean by part of it real soon. And then I also have a fleet update. Stay tuned, we'll get started right away. So what I done is I just cranked on the distributor as it was gaining RPMs at idle, back it off a little bit, the idle, kind of crank a little bit more timing into it. And when it kind of quit gaining RPMs, I backed it off about 3 or 4 degrees. And I did all of that just by my ear and my hand turning it. And then I hooked up the vacuum gauge tester to manifold vacuum, right to the manifold. And then I fine-tuned the last couple degree in for max vacuum. And then I went out there with my timing light to see exactly where the initial timing would be. So it ended up being, I got numbers in my head now, it ended up being about 13 degrees initial, 12, 14. It was in that range. Hard to see. You had to, I don't have the window in my bell housing like some vans do, so I had to crank my head and up against the hood and put a dent in my head, you know, so a guy can kind of see the mark. So that's how I knew where my initial would be. For total, I just went out of town and I had the total timing at about, I'm going to guess about 28, and I tried like 30 and then down to 26, and just, I didn't pay attention how it responded out of the hole. I just gave it the beans, listened, no lifters, it pulled really hard, shift good, pulled hard for what it is. And then I decided that 28 degrees total was where it seemed to like it. So then, after I knew what my initial was, and I knew what my total was, I took a FBO plate, and they're slotted for different degree, and I put that inside the distributor, limiting my mechanical advance. I removed the heavy springs, so it's all in by about 2,800 RPMs. And then the distributor vacuum advance was on it. If you look inside there, there's a number in there, and this one says 11. You multiply that by 2, and that's how much vacuum advance it's going to pull in there. So that's 22 degrees. So what I ended up doing was putting an 8.5 in there, which would be 17 degrees. So part throttle going down the road, it's running about 45 degrees. I like that because if you ever get a low octane gas, it won't ping on you. Keep in mind, it's very hard to show you improvements on something that we have no documentation. So I had to dig back, and I actually had to find a little bit of footage off of the video we made, Road to Sykeston. So we actually found a little bit of footage I could use there of the speedometer, and just we're going to try to show you a little different points, because guys, we never hot rodded it, just drove it. We did the best we could. We'll show you. And in slow-mo, you can definitely see the speedometer on the right climbs faster. This may not look like it in the video, but this is a pretty steep hill. As a matter of fact, there's 2 lanes on the uphill versus 1 lane on the downhill, because trucks and stuff labor to get up this hill. It's kind of a long hill. Anyways, there's a spot where the concrete meets the asphalt. And every time I leave this intersection, you have to get on it a little bit if there's cars coming up behind you, because, you know, they're coming up 60 mile an hour, and here we are just taking off, trying to get going. But anyways, every time I've taken off up this run, where the concrete meets the asphalt, if I get into it, not flooring it, but just taking off, you know, just a little on the harsh side to get going, and I've done this many, many times, I would always be doing between 43 and 45 when I hit the asphalt. So we'll see what I hit this time, taking off the same way. And I know it's easy to say, well, that won't matter. It's how much gas you're giving it. You could change it by 5 miles an hour. Not really. I've taken off several times and not hit 45 because I didn't give it enough gas. Well, we'll see what it does now with the low end torque. All right, here we go. Whoa, 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 did you hear that? I just went to take off, eased out, like give it some gas, look left to right one more time, and then gave it about half throttle. Did you hear that little chirp? Yeah. I know I'm going around the corner and the weight's all leaning that way on the downhill run. That means nothing except, guys, it has never done that before, ever. And I'll tell you when I hit the concrete. Now I flat out didn't believe that run myself. So I turned the van around and I said I gave it too much gas. I'm not going to gain that much torque going up a hill in such a short distance to make a 45 to what, a 52, 53 mile an hour. So I whipped the van around and I intentionally gave it less gas than I normally would have ever. So I just, like, you know, shift out of first at 20, second at about 30, and I just let it go just to see intentionally what would happen if I gave it less gas than normal. I just couldn't believe it. It hit 48 mile an hour, giving it less gas than normal. 3 mile an hour pickup. Well, I couldn't argue with it. Even given less, I hit 48 mile an hour. We're very, very happy so far, exactly where we are. It's been an unbelievable difference, to be honest with you. Now, instead of a slant 6 and a 65 B body, it feels about like a 273 two barrel and a 65 B body. That's an improvement, isn't it? I can't show you the mile per gallon side of it for one reason. We haven't driven it in enough, and besides, there's something I gotta fix so we can go out and put more miles on it. I'll show you that now. We've sprung a transmission leak. I just put this underneath there and it's been sitting about an hour, and we got this. So before we venture way off in no man's land and start checking on the mileage per gallon, I want to fix that leak. It seems like it's a front transmission seal. I wasn't looking forward to it and I wasn't planning on it, but sometimes you got to do what a guy's got to do. Something like that. Well, Adam, this is it. This is what we're bringing. Looking forward to it. Should be a lot of fun. Can't wait to see your awesome van. It's going to be a great time. And now, as we said, we have a fleet change. Our 64 Rambler that was with us for a year, we had some fun, good times, fun little car to drive. You Rambler guys, I kind of feel for you. You know, there's so much on the internet, so much on YouTube, and so many forums on the Mopars, Chevrolets, Fords, Hondas. There's not a whole lot out there for you AMC guys, and I was very happy, very thrilled to bring you some AMC content, share with you our little Rambler. We had some great times with it. It was a great little runner, but it's found a new home now. And I'm also thrilled to say that it was a really young man that bought this car. He was excited to get it, and I was very happy that another young man was getting involved with our hobby and keeping the classic car thing going. And the Rambler was a really good car. Nice handling, nice driving, And I know a lot of you Rambler guys came aboard specifically for this car. We appreciate it. We hope you stick around. A guy never knows what he might drag home in the future. Just very well could be another Rambler. How do we know?